recently sailed on the Icon of the Seas and the Norwegian Prima, and there are many things that I love about both ships. So let's see how they compare in a head-to-head battle to find out which cruise ship I love the most. Hi, my name is Amy, and I love to travel, and I love sharing my travel adventures with you. I'm also addicted to watching YouTube content about cruising. I was so excited when the Prima and the Icon were announced. Both Norwegian and Royal Caribbean launched unprecedented media campaigns to get us all excited about sailing these ships. They were advertising the biggest, the most innovative, and the best thing out there on the high seas. And both of these ships have very different vibes and appeal to different audiences, but they both have their perks. I'm going to do a head-to-head comparison of 10 categories, and we'll see who comes out on top. Number 1, service. Icon gets the win in this category. I had one of the best service experiences out of all my previous sailings on any other cruise line, and everyone on the ship was truly pleasant and treated the guests with kindness. The dining room staff were attentive and friendly, and the cruise director and his staff were upbeat and fun, and they had a really great sense of humor. My room attendant was truly amazing. I saw her every day, and she always checked in on me to see if there was anything I needed. I have never received such good service from an attendant before. She took the time to learn my routine and carried out a few special requests that really made my trip. I think Norwegian can learn a few things from Royal Caribbean in their service because theirs was really hit or miss between my two sailings, and I really hope that's not indicative of the line in general. 2, entertainment. Icon is the hands-down winner in the entertainment category and should get bonus points. It was absolutely spectacular. From the Broadway-style shows, the ice skating performances, the aqua action diving, the musical acts, to the game shows put on by the cruise activity staff. All of it was fantastic and the best I've seen at sea. I felt that the shows were appropriate for both children and adults, and even though this is a very family-focused line, I did not feel like I was watching a kiddie show at any time. I think the Prima had more traditional entertainment skewed towards an older audience that is possibly aging out of cruising altogether. I do have to say their comedy shows in the main theater were exceptional. The Donna Summer musical was good, but it just didn't blow me out of the water, and it was only performed on one of my 2 sailings. But I just didn't find anything else on Prima that was notable, as I didn't get to participate in anything in the Improv or Sid Norman's. 3, the layout and venues. And at this point, I'm going to seem biased towards the Icon, but it wins again for the layout and the venues. I am so in love with Central Park and the Royal Promenade. There are so many good venues on the Icon class ship, and I was supremely impressed. One of my favorite things to do was go down to Central Park in the evening and sit on a bench. I just wanted to feel the breeze in my hair while listening to the musician of the day. I felt all of the theaters had comfortable seating, their reservation system worked well, and you just had to show up about 10 minutes before the show if you had a reservation, and it was pretty easy to find a seat. And there were so many places on the Royal Promenade to choose from, it was just fantastic. I think since the Prima is significantly smaller, it's really hard to compare, but I do have to say that the few venues that they had on the ship were poorly designed, including the atrium. There was just not enough space for the amount of guests they had on board, and their show reservation system did not work well at all. Any attempt to attend a show in either Sid Norman's or the Improv completely frustrated all of the guests. However, the Prima Theater was pretty fantastic. I did like it more than the Royal Theater, and I loved that they had sofas to accommodate larger size passengers, as well as those using scooters and wheelchairs. And they also had seating that was reachable without the use of any stairs at all. I loved that the seats could be retracted to make a large dance floor, and the overhead lighting seemed pretty innovative, and it added a lot to the shows in the theater. Number 4, the vibe. Now the Prima's going to get its first win here from me for the vibe. I love the overall decor and design of the Prima. I thought it was elegant and sophisticated without being stuffy. The ship felt a little bit more upscale and aimed towards adults my age. It was a casual atmosphere, but it was not uncommon at all to see people dressed to the nines for dinner. There wasn't nearly as many shorts and baseball caps in the dining room, and people did tend to wear long pants or dresses. Now, I don't mind casual at all. It was really nice on the Icon to be in such a relaxed atmosphere, but Icon's focus is really on families and children with bright, bold, colorful decor and lots of family-focused activities. And since I'm a bit older and childless, there were a lot of things that were not designed for me. Number 5, food. Prima's going to get another win here for the food. I did have 2 very different experiences between my sailings, and overall the food in the dining room was average, but the indulged food hall was really great. It was such an innovative idea, and I love being able to order on a tablet and then receive a bunch of small plates. I thought the barbecue was really good, the grilled pineapple with brown sugar, and the gnocchi was phenomenal. It was my absolute favorite way to eat instead of just having one large main dish with no variety. Although the local did have a pretty limited menu, there were several things on the menu that I felt were excellent options. And the extended hours made it easy for someone like me who eats at really odd times to be able to get a meal. I really liked that they had other full-service restaurants available outside the main dining room and specialty restaurants. In Prima's main dining room, Hudson is the most beautiful dining room I have ever seen on a cruise ship. It was open and airy and had the most fantastic views. It was my favorite spot for sail away, and there was hardly a table in the restaurant that didn't have a view. Icon had a lot of food options, but I really think they need to step up their game as far as the quality. I felt the dining room was very traditional and felt very closed in. I felt like I was sailing on an old school cruise ship with my grandma, and it didn't really have great views of the ocean. I was a bit disappointed that they had no table service restaurant that didn't cost extra. I'm just not a specialty dining person, and I feel that when I pay $570 a night for my cruise, that I shouldn't have to pay more to eat. Number 6, itinerary. Prima gets the win for itinerary options because they have the Norway and Iceland sailing available. I sailed this itinerary in June of 2023, and it was one of the most spectacular trips I have ever taken. I was also able to spend a couple days in London prior to the sailing, and they offer a Caribbean itinerary as well. But the Icon is focusing on very standard Caribbean destinations with family-friendly itineraries, and most of the activities are very beach-focused. There's not much variety, and if you're a regular cruiser, you've probably been to all of these destinations already. I'm not saying they're bad, but it's hard to overlook the opportunity of visiting Norway and Iceland on a cruise. Number 7, the app and the internet. Icon's the winner here. If you've ever sailed on Royal Caribbean before, then you know their app is superior. It was so easy to use, and the reminder feature was absolutely fabulous. I could go in and schedule everything I wanted to do in a day, and a reminder would pop up on my phone. It told me when and where I needed to be at all times, so I didn't have to think about what I was doing. I just watched my phone for updates. I thought the Wi-Fi worked really well. I didn't have any lags when using Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Now, Prima's app was pretty good. I just felt trying to read the daily activities was a little bit difficult because it was almost in a PDF format. And my cruise partner did have difficulty connecting to the app quite often when they were using an Android phone. I did have a little bit of a lag and delay when using social media and watching videos, but all in all, it was still really good. Number 8, the room. Prima gets the win for the room, and that's because the bathroom is a bit better laid out. I don't think the footprint was really any bigger. It was just the organization of the items in the bathroom. It gave me a little bit more room when sitting on the toilet. In Icon's bathroom, my shoulder was constantly brushing against the shower wall. So for someone who's taller or bigger than me, that may be uncomfortable. But for both ships, the beds were really comfortable. I loved the design of the closets and the desks. I was really a fan of the decor in both of the rooms, but Prima wins for the nightstands as well. Icons were just sad. They were so tiny. If I sail an Icon class ship again, I'll make sure I don't get a style of room where one side of the bed is pushed up against the wall. It was really uncomfortable trying to get in bed on the side that I sleep on when there was only 4 inches of space between me and the wall. Now, I don't know if it was just an issue with my particular room, and I probably should have just asked my room attendant to sort it out for me. Number 9, embarkation and disembarkation. Icon is the winner. I think Royal has the edge with their innovative embarkation process. I thought it was great that I didn't have to pick up my keys before I got on the ship, and I think that really does save a lot of time. It was neat to see someone standing around with a tablet just waiting to check me in. And I was probably on the ship within 5 minutes of walking in the door at Miami's port. Now, Icon's disembarkation gets a special shout out because the staff were super organized and provided excellent guest service to anyone who was anxiously awaiting disembarkation. They definitely edged out Prima, but Prima did an excellent job on 2 of my embarkations and 1 of my disembarkations. There was only a bit of confusion in Reykjavik when everyone was exiting the ship all at the same time, and there was chaos in the parking lot with over 3,000 people trying to get their transfers to the airport all at the same time. We're down to the last item, number 10. Let's talk about the price. Prima gets the prize, but let's be clear, neither of these cruises were inexpensive. They were not budget cruises in any way, shape, or form, and the Icon of the Seas was the most expensive cruise per night that I've ever taken. It was $240 more per night than the 12-night Norwegian cruise that I took on Prima. Now, the Prima sailing was a good value, especially with the sheer beauty of the cruise ports. It was average price if you look at the market for a Norway itinerary. But my goal in the upcoming years is to work my way onto a Norway cruise using a casino offer. That way I can save thousands of dollars. And the same way with any of the Icon class ships, I don't think I would pay full price again now that I've had the experience, especially as a solo traveler, because I did have a bit of a surcharge and I wasn't allowed to book a balcony cabin online. I don't know if I could have booked one by calling, but the only options they gave me were interior room or a suite, unless I went in and changed the passenger total to 2 people. But honestly, I didn't want anybody else coming with me. I was so ready for a solo cruise on the Icon, it was not even funny. So now that we've tallied up those points, you can see by sheer coincidence, it turns out the Icon of the Seas has 5 points and Norwegian Prima has 5 points. So in my head-to-head comparison, these ships tied. I think they are both great ships and worth sailing. They are just very different ships. Icon of the Seas is really focused on families, kids, and thrill activities with a bold Caribbean theme and over-the-top design. But it has lots to see and do, and adults will be entertained just as much as the kids. But be prepared for a lot of children on your sailings. On the Prima, you're going to find a more subdued environment with beautiful spaces and an overall elegant vibe. It's really focused on adults traveling without children between the ages of 30 to 60. The innovative Indulge Food Hall is definitely a draw for this ship, as well as the laid out staterooms and bathrooms. I don't think you could go wrong with either of these ships. Just set your expectations and you'll have a fabulous time. So that's all I have for today, but while I'm waiting for my September cruise on the Wonder of the Seas for onboard content, I'm going to put out a video series on the cruise ports that I visited while on the 12-night Norwegian and Iceland itinerary on the Norwegian Prima. So make sure you keep an eye out for that, because let me tell you, the cruise ports included on this itinerary were spectacular. And I'm going to kick off the series with my pre-cruise visit to London, which is another must-do city that needs to be on everyone's bucket list. If you want to help my channel grow, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to continue to see content like this in the future. And if you'd like to be notified every time I release a new video, make sure you hit that notification bell and turn your notifications on. And as always, if you seek Amy, you may find her on a cruise. Have a wonderful day and happy cruising!